Yo, Sancho Uchiha here, people. So it's been a little over 6 months since the Boruto Naruto Next Generations anime started, and the question still lingers: just how powerful will Boruto Uzumaki become in the future of the series? And more specifically, can he surpass Naruto Uzumaki, his father? And on today's segment, we'll be discussing just that. So stay tuned. It'll be an interesting Naruto discussion segment. Hope you enjoy. Yeah, welcome again, guys. Thanks for joining me here today on this discussion video of can Boruto Uzumaki surpass his father, Naruto Uzumaki. So, joining me today for the first time, well, probably not the first time, but I have a subscriber here with me today, nomekoPJho. Apparently, it's Pokemon backwards, but what's up, man? What's going on?
Yo, what's up, bro? Everything's alright over here. What's up,
Yeah,
how are you?
right. Not much, man. Not much. Thanks for joining me here today, man.
Yeah.
So, today we'll be discussing if Boruto, the son of the legendary Naruto Uzumaki, can he
hmm
actually surpass Boruto? Now, Nomeko, can I just say Nomeko or
Yeah, sure, why not?
all right, so man, so I know you haven't been really been keeping up with Boruto, but you saw the Boruto Naruto the movie a few years back. Based on
Right.
that movie and what you remember, um what do you think? Like, what do you think if somebody asked you this question like straight off the bat? What do you think?
Man, I would go with yes, because we know Naruto is crazy strong. He's god level strong, one of the strongest shinobi. But from what we've seen, comparing Boruto to Naruto at his age, he doesn't have the Nine Tails and all of that power to tap into, but he has a lot of skills. I think his technique that maybe not in raw power,
Yeah.
but I think that he could. I think that he could.
All right, fair enough, man. So, for the sake of this video and actually going into this, one thing, and we kind of talked about this a bit off the air in terms of how we present it to the viewers. So the thing is, what we're gonna go with, we're actually going to break this topic down into three parts, and this will actually help answer the question. So, what we'll do, we'll go over Naruto's current power in the current era of Boruto, as well as Boruto's current skills, and then finally where the series could potentially go, and of course, by extension, that affects how strong Boruto could potentially become based on his current skills. So, let's get right into it. So
Right.
Naruto Uzumaki, first off, man, like honestly speaking, there's like no other way to describe him but OP. Like it's not even funny, man. Like it's
Super OP.
crazy. It's insane. Like arguably speaking, Naruto is the not only the strongest shinobi in the history of Konoha, but probably the strongest shinobi on the planet next to Sasuke right now. So that's something you could definitely agree with, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I tend to think Sasuke has more skill and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
the amount of buffs that Naruto has gotten, the Nine Tails, and then there's Sage Mode, and then there's Nine Tails plus the Sage Mode, and then the
Yeah, man,
it's ridiculous, man.
it's ridiculous. Like it's like plot armor to the maximum. Like if you had a Game Shark, like it's not that. It's just like comparatively speaking, when you compare him and Sasuke to everybody else, it's like on any good day, like they beat everybody, man.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like going over like most of Naruto during Naruto's training with Kakashi when he was mastering the Rasen Shuriken, trained for that,
Mhm.
all that nature transformation for wind release and all that jazz and blues. Um, Kakashi stated, and it depends on the translation, and I'll more than likely have this on screen. I'll have some scans on screen throughout the video, obviously.
Mhm.
But Kakashi stated that Naruto, without the Nine Tails, has at least 2 to 4 times more chakra than than Kakashi. So honestly, and that's really in part due to the fact that he's an Uzumaki.
Yeah,
They have
right.
strong life force, and vitality and all of that. But later on, we found this is also due to the fact that he's a reincarnation of the Sage of Six Paths' younger son.
More buff.
So, like, it's it's insane, man. And when you compare, I know we're gonna have a Boruto section of this, but when you really compare Naruto to Boruto, we see that even in part one, Naruto could like make a bajillion shadow clones already,
Yeah.
compared to Boruto now that what probably if I'm highballing at most eight shadow clones.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Yeah, so there was that. Because I believe there was even this one scene in the Boruto Naruto the movie when Sasuke was training him and Sasuke showed that he knew the Shadow Clone Jutsu as well, and he was telling Boruto that Naruto could do Shadow Clones like a bajillion at a young age.
Yeah.
So there was that as well. But Nomek. I'm just like spitting out random versions of your name here, man. But the
Like,
thing is, I'd definitely say what makes determining if Boruto can surpass Naruto at the end of the day, like what makes it more difficult, especially if you're like pro Naruto in this case, is all the training and power ups he would have gotten in the latter half of the story,
mm,
especially the Fourth Great Ninja War.
yeah.
Is all right. So before we continue, are there any specific moments like you would definitely say like makes it hard to see how Boruto could actually surpass him?
Well, to start off with, the fact that he had the nine tails,
Yeah.
that kind of, that kind of edges out Boruto there. But if that wasn't bad enough, I would say the key moment, and that's like this is like way after, was when he got that the man was it six path. You can see I'm not really too fluid with my Naruto, but you know
Yeah.
that buff he got from the old guy.
The old guys. Yeah, the Sage of Six Paths,
Yeah,
Hagoromo.
yeah. That I would say would definitely make things not look so good for Boruto. I mean, how do you compete with something like that, And
Yeah,
he was
it's
already OP, and after that, he became, just about Madara level OP.
like it's true, man. And if we even look at Naruto's growth throughout, like mastering stuff like the Rasengan and summoning Jutsu in part one,
Yeah,
but like if we even go to like mid Shippuden, like even Sage mode itself,
yeah,
that puts him on a different level compared to a lot of people in the village. Like I was saying this in my previous recording because this is like my second take of this recording, man. And I was saying that with Sage Mode, training with the frogs of Mount Miyaboku specifically,
yeah,
like I don't know if a lot of people give it any thought, but personally, I kind of see putting Naruto's taijutsu skills, offensively speaking, at least in the top 10 in the shinobi world, because I think what a lot of people forget, especially Kishimoto, the creator of Naruto himself, what
yeah,
he forgot to actually take advantage of later on, is Naruto's ability in Sage Mode to actually use natural energy around him as an extension of his techniques. If you remember, like, I don't have it on screen, of course, but when he went up against the Pretapath of Pain, the one that can absorb chakra,
right.
yeah, when he punched and missed, he still connected with the natural energy and took it out in one hit. So, like, Sage Mode itself gave him a ridiculous buff in itself. So there was like that is considered, man, like it's crazy. And when you consider him gaining control of the Nine Tails, the initial Nine Tails chakra mode, he was able to outspeed the Raikage and receive a bigger buff than say Sage mode.
Yeah.
So do you have any memories of when like you first saw Naruto unlock QB chakra mode? I mean, the first thing that we saw was him actually taking out Kis. Well, he didn't take out Kisame, but he basically blitzed Kisame, and I believe Yamato and Killer Bee at the time were mentioned that the only thing they saw was a yellow flash. So
Yeah.
yeah, what are your thoughts on that, man?
You know what's funny though? On a side note, right before I answer that, I actually watched that clip the other day,
Yeah.
and like Naruto got his foot stuck in the ground. I'm like Naruto, come on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. So it's like little things like this, people, that like building up through Naruto itself. Naruto starts to kind of establish himself as the exception when it comes down to various categories, when it comes down to speed, and not to mention that he more or less became like he was more or less the best sensory type ninja on the
Yeah,
planet because he could sense negative emotions,
yeah,
something that like other sensory ninjas in Naruto couldn't do. And this was like the crucial factor in actually fighting against the White Zetsu in the Fourth Great Ninja War
yeah.
when Obito was doing that whole espionage kind of Trojan horse tactics.
Right, right.
So there was that.
Yeah, but to answer the question you're asking though,
Yeah,
like I do remember when he pretty much just unlocked it, and it was crazy because being someone who doesn't look at spoilers, and you know how I avoid spoilers,
yeah, I
man.
know, man.
So
I know
I had
you.
no idea how it was gonna look, what it was gonna be like. So I thought it was pretty epic. And on top
Yeah,
of that, it was just like another buff for Naruto, like this is this next level.
it's
Yeah, it
ridiculous,
was
man.
pretty sick. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like the form strength itself at that point, it's verified with the fact that hey, he was able to go up against multiple Kage level opponents in the
Yeah.
Fourth Great Ninja War. And at this point, like eventually gets full access to Kurama's full chakra. So that's another buff within the war,
Yeah.
like on top
Yeah.
of his incredible speed and strength already, which and we see he was able to even go up against multiple Jinchuriki and Tail Beast by himself. I mean, B was there with him, but like
It's still
Naruto
crazy.
felt like, yeah, you get what I'm saying, man?
Yeah.
So there was that. So I mean, moving from there, we have Hashirama. Like, just to kind of compare. Moving on from there, man. Like, we have Madara Uchiha, right? And based on flashbacks, we see him fighting against Hashirama, using a lot of chakra taxing moves, and
Mhm.
he's able to fight Hashirama for 24 hours straight. This is before the whole village system was implemented and all that
Yeah.
jazz and
Right.
blues. Yeah, and we have Hashirama, we have Madara himself basically bitching on all five Kage, like casually not being impressed and all that jazz.
Seriously.
And throughout most of the fight, we have him just praising Hashirama, saying, "Yo, he's the only one who can stop me," and all of that. And
That's
then,
Madara.
and then, like I believe it's when Obito became the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, and he was gonna eliminate the Shinobi Alliance by trapping them in a barrier and firing four Tail Beast bombs. And Naruto basically got rejuvenated on by Minato's half of the Nine Tails. And it's at this point that Hashirama goes on to state, "Hey, yo, this guy has almost as much chakra as me." So like that, like comparatively speaking, like Naruto plus the Nine Tails, like almost as much as Hashirama in terms of raw chakra,
Yeah,
man.
I think Hashirama is underrated when we talk about how much chakra he has. Like that's a crazy amount of chakra.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and kind of going off topic for a bit, as you mentioned that, like I think the Kage is showing like the four Hokage is showing in the war. I thought it had some good moments, but I think it was a bit lackluster. Like
yeah,
especially Minato, like,
yeah,
but whatever. We let's get back on topic. So yeah, there's definitely that, and the fact that in that same war, Naruto himself was able to actually share his chakra with the entire Shinobi Alliance, and
yeah.
as stated by Kakashi, like when he was talking to Shikamaru's father in terms of how much it actually increases chakra, Kakashi mentioned that it was like a 3 times increase. So imagine Naruto amping the entire. Granted, most of the alliance is dead at this point, so probably like 1,000 Shinobi. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
even that in itself is still ridiculous. Not Naruto amping all those Shinobi. Um, like I mean, it kind of feels like we're kind of going off on a tangent here, people. But we really have to establish Naruto in terms of his portion in this video, in terms of how ridiculously OP he is.
Yeah.
Um of course, Naruto does go on to he has Tail Beast mode and then goes on to stack Sage mode, combine Sage mode and Tail Beast mode. So I guess Tail Beast Sage mode. Like at this point, you could, in terms of raw chakra, you could probably say he's definitely equal to Hashirama at this point
Yeah.
because I don't know if you remember, but Orochimaru revived them during the war. They're almost at full power, and we have them going up against Obito, who Hashirama like blatantly says, "Yo, this guy is stronger than me." And then we have we have like Naruto and Sasuke. Like, granted, I still believe individually, Obito was stronger than either of them, but and it was
Yeah.
kind of a bit of bullshit slash plot armor that they actually won that fight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stupid,
Uh,
but the fact they went up against him nonetheless, like, kind of shows how strong Naruto got at that point. So I don't know, what did you think about that part, man? Like, Tail Beast mode, adding Sage mode onto it, it and the buffs, the power ups don't stop there. But go ahead.
no, they don't stop there at all. Like, I remember when like the 90s just told Naruto that, I'm gonna let you. We're gonna do the Sage mode and we're gonna do the Ninetales together. And I just remember that being so OP, and like I thought about it. That's really crazy because individually they were already pretty crazy at the time. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe not now because he is super buff now,
Pretty much.
but Ninetales was always really crazy, and when he learned Sage mode, that was pretty crazy. So then having them together with benefits of them both working together, like that,
Yeah.
that was just mind blowing at the time.
Yeah, as you mentioned benefits, like added benefit of this is that, hey, yo, he can even get a natural energy for Sage mode a lot faster.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
like
That's crazy.
like, it's no joke, people. Naruto at that point was pretty insane. Um
But since you mentioned that though, at the time when he was just learning Sage mode,
yeah.
like the main drawback mentioned was that it takes a while to gather that energy.
Yeah.
So since combining them actually sped up the process, that just like eliminated that one drawback.
Exactly, man. Like, it's totally insane when you think about it. I mean, this guy could one shot a pain body like with ease at that point. He could
Yeah,
blitz like, I mean, I think in writing, like, it's kind of hard, man, because it's, as I was saying the other day, like when we were talking about versus battles where,
yeah,
yeah, Naruto outspeeds the right Kage. Um, we're not saying Madara and Obito are slow, but they aren't really portrayed to be like speedsters within Naruto.
yeah,
And then we have Obito and Madara having no problem keeping up with Cubic Chakra mode and Tail Beast mode Naruto. So it's kind of hard when talking about speed, but Naruto could definitely blitz a lot of people if he tried, like, honestly speaking.
yeah,
Um, so we know at this point that Madara comes in, wrecks the tail beast, kills Naruto and Sasuke, basically, like, with, like, I mean, it kind of sounds ridiculous considering we've been kind of hyping Naruto up this whole video at
yeah,
this point,
yeah.
but like, it's
Madara
ridiculous.
is just that OP, man.
Yeah, it's insane. But at this point, Naruto gets half of Hagoromo Otsutsuki's, or Otsuki, depending on how you pronounce it or however it's pronounced, whatever. Half of his chakra, and he gets minute portions of the other tail beast chakra.
Yeah,
So I've said it, like, when I kind of think about it over the years, like, I've always said that without the six pass power up, like, it was kind of like you could potentially see Boruto passing Naruto, but with that six pass power up, like, man, like,
yeah. It's crazy because that six paths. I mean, Naruto is on legendary levels now. As we were saying a while ago, he's like the strongest of
yeah,
all ninja
like,
ever.
it's
You know?
insane. Like we can even break it down for you, man, so you even get a better idea. We know Naruto himself isn't like the most. He doesn't have the most diverse move set. I mean, it's
Yeah,
Rasengan, Rasen Shuriken, Shadow Clone, Summoning, and basically variants of all the above that I just stated. But
yeah,
I mean, with six path Sage mode and six path Senjutsu that he got from Hagoromo based on getting half of his chakra, he could now fly. he he had a universal understanding of chakra, and by
Yeah,
extension, he had all five elemental releases. He had the truth-seeking orbs. Granted, he doesn't have them anymore. Even though I would go on to theorize that he could probably generate them again if he really goes back and trains and
yeah,
probably experiments. But with those orbs, which were basically composed of all five elements and yin yang release, he could negate ninjutsu
yeah,
as well as basically it was like a more advanced version of Onuki's dust release that you could basically disintegrate anything on a molecular
yeah, yeah.
level. Yeah. And it was like the highest form of like shape manipulation. And basically it receives the same buffs as Sage Mode, but obviously on a like a godly level. Like I would go on to say
Really?
even like 10 times in regular Sage Mode. Because think of it, man. In Six Fat Sage Mode, he could compete with the Ten Tails Jinchuriki Madara Uchiha, physically speaking.
Yeah,
Like, and his sensory capabilities are like, they're already ridiculous with what we stated with like Nine Tails Chakra Mode and all that, and Sage Mode already. But now he could fight invisible opponents
yeah.
without
You could
seeing them.
detect Madara's limbo clones and stuff. His sensory skills off the charts.
Yeah, like, it's insane, man. And then it's in like small portions, but it's still a boost nonetheless. He has the chakra of all the other tailed beasts. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's totally insane. This alone has put Naruto, and as we mentioned, the war itself was like the main portion that makes this question, the video topic, so hard to find out. And in the Boruto era, even though he's gotten rusty, really and truly, the only thing he's really lost in the Boruto era is the truth-seeking orbs. Granted, his six-path sage mode, tail beast, whatever design has changed comparatively speaking to the
yeah,
war,
yeah,
but that's the only thing he's lost. Like, think about it, man. When Hashirama stated he had almost as much chakra as him, that was just half the Nine Tails. Plus Naruto's chakra. Over the two
yeah,
years leading into the last Naruto the movie and the Boruto era, Naruto has continued to train. He has continued. He got another half of the Nine Tails, and it's evident that his basic skills have increased. Like if you rewatch the last Naruto the movie, bro, like we can see that hey, he can throw a Rasen Shuriken and form it without the help of shadow clones or Sage Mode. Like,
yeah,
like it's insane. And obviously his taijutsu and TLB's control skills have basically improved. He can basically isolate the transformation to one arm. Like it's it's insane, bro. Like I mean, I don't know if you ever like looked at it or analyzed it like that, especially in the last Naruto the movie, but when he was
yeah,
up against Toneri, he was nowhere near full power. Granted, he was using his full tail beast mode and combined it with Sage mode, but he didn't use any of his six paths abilities or at
yeah.
all. So what do you think about that movie, man? Like taking all of that into consideration.
You know, taking that all in, it's like saying, can Boruto become the strongest ninja ever? That's pretty much what it is. Like, really, because I mean, Hashirama praised Naruto, and he didn't even have all of his buffs yet. So at this point, I think that it's safe to say that Naruto is the ninja god right now.
It's
But
insane.
essentially we're asking, can Boruto surpass the ninja god? Can Boruto become the ultimate ninja? The ninja to top all ninjas ever?
It's
That's really what
insane.
it is.
It's ridiculous. And I think we'll mention one last thing before moving to the Boruto section, which, don't worry, people, like, the remaining sections of this video won't be too long compared to this Naruto hype part, I suppose. But we do know at the end of the war, he even receives a prosthetic arm made from Hashirama's cells, which is a
Yeah.
further boost to his already ridiculous powers. So there's that. But anything further to say on Naruto before we move to the Boruto section, man?
Man, I think that we've hyped up Naruto enough. I mean, we all know that he's god level. He's like, I mean, Sasuke is there, but he's like the strongest apart from Sasuke. I think we can argue that Sasuke is super OP as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So it just makes to say that Boruto has a lot to live up to in this argument.
And just
Yeah,
putting one more thing into perspective, people, before we move on. Haguro, the Sage of the Six Paths, and his brother Hamura fought the Ten Tails at full power to what we could assume be a stalemate before they sealed it. And if Naruto received half of Hagoromo's chakra, like you could scale to say Naruto at least has half the chakra of the Ten Tails. Well, at least a quarter of the chakra of the Ten Tails. It's insane. But moving on to the Boruto section, guys. And Nomek, you've stayed off air with me that you haven't been really keeping up with Boruto much besides the Boruto movie and the Naruto Gaiden arc in the Boruto anime. So Boruto's current skill level and looking at it, it's like this, man. He currently knows lightning release, wind release, and I believe one other element based on a data book. He does know the Shadow Clone Jutsu, the Rasengan, and he does know how to add nature transformation of wind to the
yeah,
Rasengan, hence his vanishing Rasengan.
yeah,
Comparatively speaking, and of course he does know basic gentle fist techniques, and he has that mysterious eye technique, which we don't know too much about just yet.
yeah,
Um, Comparatively speaking, he's 12 to 13 years old currently, and comparatively speaking to like Naruto at 12 to 13, he's obviously much more skilled than Naruto.
yeah. He's
He's
more skilled for
more
sure.
skilled.
Yeah,
Like it's insane, man. Like, and it's not just Boruto. Like, kind of going off topic for a bit. The new generation as a whole shows a lot of potential, but the thing is, and I've reasoned already that showing like being a prodigy, it takes more than that to actually, I guess, grow and eventually or potentially overcome Naruto, because
yeah,
even within Naruto's generation, comparatively speaking, there are a lot of prodigies compared to Naruto, and this is
yeah,
where Naruto is now. Naruto is like above and beyond everybody.
yeah.
So, like, based on that, what do you think? Boruto's current skill, what do you think about it, man?
Well, I mean, if we draw the comparison to Naruto,
Yeah.
Boruto is super skilled, and I would beg to say that he's more skilled than Naruto at that age. But I think Naruto had a lot of raw power. I mean, even with the Nine Tails and stuff, that latent power, that hidden power.
Yeah.
I don't think Boruto has anything like that. So I mean, pitting them up together, which is kind of crazy. But Naruto at that age versus Boruto at that age,
You still
Boruto
think
might have.
Naruto would win?
I think that he would win. Boruto might have the edge at first, but I mean, we all know what happens. Naruto gets back down, and the Nine Tail comes out. I mean, even look at that battle with Haku. I think is a perfect example. Haku completely. I mean, this is way back Zabuza and that stuff. I think that Haku really outclassed both Naruto and Sasuke. But then when Naruto got all emotional and stuff, and the Ninetales came out, it was a completely different story. So
True,
I
true.
feel even if Boruto outclasses him with technique and skill, that latent power, I think, man, I don't see how Boruto would overcome that at all.
Yeah, I definitely have to
It
agree with you,
doesn't.
man, because even
Yeah,
like putting the Nine Tails aside, like if this was a battle to the death, Naruto, it sounds crazy to say, but
yeah,
like if like we had some hypothetical alternate universe or strange situation,
yeah,
I could also see Naruto coming out on top. I mean, he still has summoning jutsu and all of that, and even with the Nine Tails, like even going back to that same scanner where I said Kakashi, depending on the translation you read, Kakashi is saying Naruto without the Nine Tails, having about 2 to 4 times more chakra as him.
yeah.
He Kakashi does go on to mention right after that with the Nine Tails, Naruto has at least 100 times more chakra, and that's that's without like mastery just yet. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's still things are still in Naruto's favor, like the child of this prophecy, the reincarnation boy
Yeah, I mean, come
himself.
on, man.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's move on to the last parts of this video because we've been recording for like half an hour basically. So I guess this could be treated as like some podcast. So guys out there, if you're listening to this, I guess if you're making some long journey or something, you could definitely listen to this as while you're traveling or something. But Boruto being skilled aside, the last part, as I mentioned at the start of the video, is where the series potentially goes and where does that actually drag along Boruto and company. So the thing is, based on the Boruto anime, well, based on how Naruto ended with Kaguya, and then we got the last Naruto movie with Toneri, and then we got Boruto Naruto movie with like Momoshiki and Kinshiki. So
Yeah.
and it's highly hinted based on the direction that we'll be getting more Otsusukis or Otsukis, whatever. Yeah, we'll be getting more. It is leaning along the lines of there being some interdimensional war. Like it sounds crazy because we've
Yeah.
started this series with the idea of it being ninjas. Like, how do we get from it going to interdimensional aliens? It's ridiculous.
It's like alien invasion, no?
It's crazy, man. It's really highly hinted in after the first arc of Boruto in the Boruto anime. We saw Momoshiki and Kinshiki, bro, and they were mentioning that there was some distortions in the current dimension where Naruto and gang reside, and they need to actually report it to the clan superiors, essentially. So that was
Right.
like one of the major hints to say, oh, there'll be more Otsukis coming, definitely more powerful than Kaguya, for obvious reasons. So the thing is, if the characters are going to be exposed to these aliens, these forces of nature that will more than likely be Kaguya level or relative to Kaguya, as we see with Momoshiki and Kinshiki. It's only natural to think that hey, Boruto and crew will be exposed to power ups, or at least working for power ups that will bring them on that level.
Yeah.
And before I even let you put your input in here, bro, it's seen that anything that deals with Otsusukis, because they're a clan of interdimensional aliens that feed on the fruits of God trees and all of that, and
Yeah.
feeding on the fruits of God trees is basically equivalent to getting six packs power ups. So Boruto will more or less have to be competing against that. So what do you think about this point?
You know, in starting to talk about that, I'm gonna draw a reference to something that the Kages were talking about with, this generation is soft and we're a lot stronger than this and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I mean, thinking about it, even the nature of the show, no, Boruto versus what Naruto was, I mean, looking at the tuning exams, I mean, people always did a comparison. And like it does tend to seem that way. I mean, looking at the tuning exams, I didn't see anyone who was like Gara when Gara was in his tuning exams, like. And I know he has the tail beast and everything, but that level of that just power and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
to say that Boruto and gang have to get strong enough to fight a Kaguya level threat, like I don't really see how that. I mean, I know it's gonna happen somehow, but I don't see it. And even like looking at the little clip we got from the future of Boruto, where we see Boruto has these new powers and stuff. You
Yeah.
know he's gonna get stronger, and those things look like some real hacks. But the middle, seeing how he gets there,
Yeah.
that would be interesting because I don't really see it right now. Boruto is a goofball. And he doesn't have any like a Ninetales or something that you can kind of see is going to develop or something like that. So it
Yeah.
should be interesting, but I don't see it. I definitely could see something for Sasuke's daughter, Sarada, was it, where
Yeah.
she can evolve her Sharingan, and who knows what's the next step. You can see her moving forward, but Boruto should be interesting because I don't see it. You know.
Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying, man. It should be noted, like, in the manga version of the Boruto Naruto the movie events, that after beating Momoshiki, that Momoshiki appeared to Boruto, similar to like how Hagoromo appeared to Naruto and Sasuke, and he apparently received a curse mark from him. Apparently, I haven't
Ah,
read the chapter myself, but based on what I've been hearing and seeing in terms of scans. And
Mm.
we're not entirely sure if it's the same curse mark that we see on future Boruto, but it kind of lands with what I was saying, that being exposed to elements that are relatively speaking either a bit weaker or a bit stronger than Kaguya is going to force the characters to actually dive into sources of power or achieve sources
Yeah.
of power that will put them on a level that are, well, I guess, comparatively speaking to Naruto and Sasuke, either a bit weaker or a bit stronger.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but you know they're gonna adapt though. They kind of have to,
Yeah. But,
unless you know,
I
unless
mean,
they sit back and let Naruto and Sasuke do all the work.
and that's like kind of like a topic for another like video,
Yeah,
man. But
yeah,
it could be possible that they could try taking like Naruto and Sasuke like out of the picture, because at the end of the day, all right, that's kind of like get off topic for a bit. Like, if even for like Sarada, like if she even unlocks the Mangekyo Sharingan, she eventually is going to go blind. So what happens then? Does Sasuke die and she gets Sasuke's eyes? You see
who
what I'm saying?
knows? Maybe he donates it or something. Yeah, who knows?
But that in a sense is either weakening Sasuke or setting him up to actually, I guess, get defeated. Like, if you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying, like, but that like kind of goes to say, I think with what I said or what we said in the third point, I think Boruto I can see him surpassing Naruto if given the right, I guess, exposure.
yeah.
Yeah. So anything to say like before we cut this video out, man?
Well, man, it's just that Boruto has a lot to work to. He's gonna have to be the ninja god to get that done.
It's ridiculous. And I mean, honestly, it kind of does seem like they're taking a Dragon Ball Z kind of route, because, I mean, it's only natural because a lot of series these days have been inspired by Dragon Ball, and it's
Yeah,
evident. Kishimoto, I mean, One Piece, it's only natural, but eh.
yeah.
But all right, people. So that's all we have for this one. Tell me what you thought about this discussion video. I mean, Nomek doesn't really do videos for YouTube, but you can subscribe to him as well, I suppose. But yeah, so rate, comment, subscribe, hit that bell to get notifications for whenever I upload, and I'll see you in the next one.
All right.